Hello, everybody. How are you? So this is a very cool interview I did with Michael Anthony in 2009. Obviously, he was playing with Sammy by then, but he had some very interesting things to say, so I hope you dig it. Thanks.
Michael.
Steven.
How are you, buddy?
How you been, man?
Oh, I've been really well, and looks like you're doing great too, huh?
Yeah. Can't complain.
Yeah, man, good for you. I was at the show last night, and yeah,
really?
man, you guys are great.
Oh, thanks a lot.
You guys were rocking.
Yeah, sorry we pushed this back a little bit. It was kind of a late night.
I figured. I was tired waking up this morning. I said, "There's no way Mikey's waking up this early." So
I'm normally an early riser.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but with everything that was going on last night, and then after the show,
I hear you.
The whole thing, but.
Well, cool, man. Let's dive into this thing.
Right.
Last night, Michael, Sammy said, he felt like he was in Montrose again. There was like that spirit and the energy, and do you have any sense of that? Does it feel like the early Van Halen days, kind of everybody?
Well, not even like the early Van Halen days, just like how, when we first got together and even jammed, it was like the chemistry and everything was so cool that and it's something that very rarely happens. And there was only a couple of times, like when we first started Van Halen, when Sammy joined the band, we had that kind of chemistry happen, and it just kind of really inspires you and kind of took me back to like when I was first joining a band.
I remember Snake.
And yeah, and and so it's kind of like a revitalization,
On paper, did it ever seem funny? Kind of, Joe and you and Chad. If you're just looking at it from the outside, did it look a little odd?
No, not really, because Sammy, Chad, and I, we've jammed numerous times down in Cabo San Lucas at the club. And that's kind of like where the name Chickenfoot was born, because out of necessity, we have to call it something when we go on stage down there, because there's just like a handful of guys that are always jamming, and so we always try to make up some kind of a name or whatever, and Chickenfoot was kind of like what we made up.
Mm-hmm.
But and I've jammed with Joe before, and it wasn't like it's like when people say supergroup, you think of maybe like a manufacturer type thing.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, let's get Joe from there, and let's get these guys from Van Halen, whatever. And it wasn't like that at all. It was like four friends, kind of like jamming. So it just felt very natural.
What does it feel like playing with Chad? I think Chad is really on the other side from where Alex was. He's he's doing the single bass thing, and there's something about his approach that seems so much more. I don't know what the word is, organic, or it just must feel different to you. So, could you talk about the differences, maybe?
Yeah, Chad's a Detroit rocker. Growing up, he's like, he's a rock guy at heart, and he brings that a little bit of that funky type element that he does with the Chili Peppers. But the guy hits it hard. When we're in the album, I almost have to wear work goggles from the wood splitters coming off his sticks, but he's got a really, besides just hitting it hard, he's got a really cool finesse about how he plays.
Yeah.
I would say it's really unorthodox, but it is a different type of a vibe. And man, I look back there and see a big smile on his face, and man, it just kind of draws you right into his whole thing, But it's really cool, and we just clicked immediately.
Really. Did you know much about the Chili Peppers, Mike? Did you listen to their stuff?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Chili Peppers. I listen to their stuff, and and I think that's one of the big surprises that people at like in the Van Halen arena or the rock arena, and with Joe too. I think listening to these guys play in this type of a situation, I think it's going to really kind of trip people out.
Definitely, absolutely. I'd actually interviewed Sammy a while ago. It was actually for his solo record, and we were talking, and he said kind of straight up that Joe was the best guitar player he'd ever worked with. Michael, I mean, obviously you've played with some pretty amazing guitar players. I mean, without asking you to characterize Joe or Ed, I mean, those are ridiculous arguments. But I mean, how is Joe different than Ed? When you're behind him, you and Chad are there kind of, putting that groove up for one of his solos or one of those, great rhythm parts. I mean, how does it feel different?
I don't know. Joe, Joe almost covers the whole spectrum of guitar. I think the only thing that I haven't heard him play is reggae. I mean, the guy can play jazz, blues. I mean, he's very rounded as far as the styles that he can play. And where Eddie's an innovator and does his trip really well. I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's different, but Joe just can really. It's like he can play anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very cool. A lot of fun playing behind him.
I guess I know that Sammy's not playing on the album, which actually I found kind of interesting. I actually thought he would pick up a guitar and strum a little bit.
No, he figured once we got someone like Joe that I think Sammy wanted to sing and focus on that, and it's really cool because Sammy, I think, really wanted to kind of get back to his rock roots doing this. It's the first time I've seen him wear long pants in a long time.
Right, that's Sammy's nod to being a serious rocker.
His thing with this band, the Wobblers, it's kind of like almost a lifestyle type of deal. He does the whole Mexican south of the border type of vibe.
Yeah.
And that's where I got to really give some kudos to Sam because of the lyric and everything on this record. I think he really, he did. He really wanted to get back to the rock roots and,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, he did. He definitely stepped it up and wasn't talking about drinking on the playa in the casa kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're back working with Andy again. I'd read actually that you were actually kind of I don't know if the fan is the right word, but you actually like working with Andy on the couple of Van Halen projects, or maybe it was just the one FUCK record. I mean, did you guys specifically want kind of I call Andy an old school guy. I mean, did you want that? Did you think that, hey, we want that early Stone, Zepp, bluesy Fleetwood Mac thing? I mean,
Andy's worked with Joe also. I think he did The Extremist with him.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a really good choice. His name came up. We all just went, yeah, let's give Andy a call. And I fell in love with the guy when we did the For Lawful Carnal Knowledge record. Way back there, Andy, he's a real hands-on kind of guy. He's not just the kind of producer that sits back there behind the board and points his finger and goes, okay, you do that, and the engineer, did this and whatever. He is almost like a fifth member of the band, and he's got a real good sense, and he's got great suggestions and ideas, and I just loved working with him again.
I mean, Mike, can you talk a little bit about your bass sound here? I mean, is it different than what you did with Van Halen? I mean, could you characterize it at all?
That was kind of a weird thing too, because with Van Halen, I would come in and I'd bring like 4, 5, 6 different bass amps with me, trying to get this sound and whatever. And on this record, Andy he said, I brought in this little, it was like a B115R little amp, and because we were recording, we were getting ready to record up in San Francisco. And so, before I was going to ship like a whole ton of stuff up there, I figured let's try a couple of things that I've actually never used in the studio that I rehearse with at home. That sounds really cool. And Andy was like, oh yeah, Michael, let's put the microphone here and whatever. Blah, blah. And I basically ended up using this one amp for the whole record.
Really? And who makes that amp, Mike?
It's an Ampeg.
Ampeg, yeah. Interesting. So I mean, the bass just seems a lot more out front, and it's just more rounded. I mean, that's just Andy's interpretation?
And just Andy's interpretation within this band, and it just turned out I was like doing backflips. It sounded great,
I mean, do you think it's one of the best bass sounds you've ever gotten?
Yeah, I actually think so on record, because it is kind of prominent and it's out there and it's like right in there with the mix.
And Mike, just run down, what basses you were using?
Well, I endorse Yamaha, so there's a new BB model bass that we have yet to even name. That a handful of Yamaha endorsees. It's like it's going to be a signature bass, but not like a signature bass for any one person. There's a few of us that are kind of R&D'ing this bass that we're all going to play, and that's what I used on the album, and that's what I've been using live now.
Mike, when you were recording, I mean, did you have that sense of, I don't know, energy or nerves, kind of like of like the first Van Halen record? I mean, like you guys had to like capture this thing and get it down. I mean, was there any?
No, I just think the fact that we were all in there playing live, which even in Van Halen in the later years here, we kind of started to get away from, but just going back and doing it old school like we used to do. Joe went in and redid, did some guitar stuff, some overdub stuff or whatever, but we basically went in live and did this thing. And it's a great way to do it, other than, going in and putting your part down and whatever,
Mm. So you guys were actually, the three of you were in there, Joe?
Actually the four of us were in there. Sammy was in it, Sammy, once he's in there and he hears us playing, man, he couldn't sit back and just watch it. So he was in there singing too, and then there was a lot of vocal stuff that we actually used off the demo stuff and stuff when we were actually laying the tracks down.
Really? Wow. So I mean, Avenida Revolution is kind of like the first song, Mike. I mean, is that sort of what you guys wanted to use to sort of introduce this new band, or did it just kind of happen to be, that's a great first track? I mean, any kind of that thought process?
I just think that it's got a great vibe and there's a real energy to the song, and it's really funny because that was one of the demos that we did where we laid it down and then we actually went to do the track. That demo sounded so well. That's actually the demo that we used for that song.
Wow.
And Joe was able to. Joe came up with the idea and actually put the song down on just guitar, and we went into the studio. Joe was on tour last year and couldn't make it in the weekend that we went into the studio, so Chad and I actually just played to his demo, and we just tweaked it up, and that's what we ended up using.
Wow.
The drums just had a fire to them that it was like when we went to try to re-record it, we're going, oh man, but let's listen back to the demo again. Oh, that sounds so great.
Yeah.
And we ended up using that.
Wow, that's cool. And towards the end of that song, Mike, that fade, you're rocking there, man.
Well, it's just a little jam, that's just one of those things, and that's what's really cool about recording this record is that there's a lot of stuff that's kind of a jam type thing, like Turning Left. We did this big jam thing at the end of it.
Yeah.
And we just left that in there. It was like, there was nothing that we were really thinking, well, let's do this and end the song here. We just said, okay, this is a part where we're just going to go off and we're going to play. And the same thing with the end of Avenida. It was all just kind of a jam, and Andy recorded it all, and we said, hey, wow, that sounds kind of cool. Let's keep it.
Wow. Talking about Turning Left, Mike, I mean, that's kind of it's a pretty fast groove, and that lick in there, you're kind of doubling that thing on guitar. I mean, that's a little bit of a chops thing there, right? I mean,
16th note, thing, man. That's what I'm good at doing, the old finger pick.
I mean, Mike, if I said to you that that groove reminded me a little bit of Mean Streets, how would you react to that?
I'd say, yeah, there's a little bit of that. Maybe
yeah.
A little bit of Pound Cake, It's the same type of, because of the pulsating 16th note thing that I'm playing.
Interesting. Soap on a Rope has kind of that great slinky. I mean, I
think that Chad brings a little bit of that funk type deal, a little bit of the funkiness to that.
Yeah. Very cool. I mean, would you ever reference with Chad, like, hey man, remember what Bonham did on, the Fourth Zepp record? I mean, would it ever get that specific, or?
No, not really. But all the four of us, we all grew up listening to a lot of the same stuff,
Yeah.
And because Joe mentioned, like, a lot of times when he was like presenting ideas or whatever, at first he said that he didn't really know what to do or what he'd think that any of us would like, for ideas. But we all come from the kind of the same school of people, from Zeppelin to Cream to the Who, and I think a lot of that little those little influences come out too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, is the first single. Again, you listen to it and like it's this is kind of a cool rock sound. But if you really listen, I mean, there's really some different things going on there. You know, there's like the verse thing, and then it goes into that little, that little picking like King Crimson thing is what I call it. You know, and then it goes into that cool instrumental, then a breakaway kind of a section where you're kind of holding down the bottom. I mean, pretty interesting song.
Yeah, I mean, there's no underlying thing that we had there. It was a riff that Joe came up with as one of the earlier ideas.
I see.
And like with everything else, he brought it to us, and we just all jammed on it and kind of evolved from there.
Interesting. I mean, Running with the Devil was kind of Van Halen's first single after the King's tune. I mean, can you compare and contrast the two singles at all, Michael? I mean, do you feel excited about this one like you did with Run the Devil? I mean, any kind of cross-collateral feelings here at all?
No, I mean, it's just excited about the whole thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's new and it's fresh, and, it's being inspired by Joe and Chad, jamming with these guys just really just brought out stuff in us. It was a real chemistry that happened there.
Is there a sense of vindication here, Mike, with the success of this band and kind of Ed, for whatever reasons, overlooking you in the reunion and that followed? I mean, you must.
I don't really look at it as vindication. I mean, when the reunion thing happened, I basically found out about the reunion, how it was going to be with everybody else, with all the fans.
Yeah.
But at this point in my life, in my career, I want to be happy. I want to make music. I want to hang out with positive people. And that's one thing. Like with Sam, he's such an upbeat, positive kind of guy.
Yeah, he is.
And we're such good friends now. That just doing this thing, it just felt so right.
Do you talk to Ed or Al at all?
No, you know what? I personally haven't spoken to either one of those guys since the 2004 tour.
Wow.
Everyone just kind of went their own way.
I know.
And, it's kind of sad. And I'm the never say never guy. If anything ever came up and the situation was right and up and across the board and whatever, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing the Van Halen thing. I'm very proud of the legacy of the band and what we've done. But I wasn't about to sit there and be bitter and bitch about not being part of the Dave reunion or whatever. It was just kind of like, okay, they chose that path, and I'm just going to move on my way.
Absolutely. One last question about Van Halen, Mike. I mean, if you look back, Mike, I mean, was there a certain period or a certain group of records that kind of stand out for you?
I actually think they all did. I thought everything was special that we did. Everything was, I think, kind of groundbreaking, innovative that we did when Dave was in the band, and when Sammy joined the band, it just kind of took the musical part of it another step up, and I just enjoyed the whole thing.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you always seem to be that middle glue that kind of held the Van Halen brothers together, and you were the buffer between Dave and
I think if I would have jumped into all the crap or whatever, it might have really gone sideways. I love playing music, and my whole thing was just to try to hold the thing together and just kind of keep it moving forward.
Yeah. Future in the past, pretty kind of a funky, kind of a Chili Peppers kind of a thing there.
That was one of the songs that we actually worked up and wrote in the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a piano on there?
Yeah. Joe, geez, this guy is a man of many instruments. If you listen closely, towards the end of Sexy Little Thing, you can hear a banjo in there.
Oh, really?
Andy had Joe playing a little harmonica on there.
Or the harmonica, that's right.
Yeah, and a little bit of the keyboard, and it was weird. Joe went in there when he was putting some finishing touches. He just really, him and Andy kind of buried themselves in the whole thing. Just really kind of, put those little finishing touch things on there.
Interesting. Yeah, and Joe would whip out some acoustics and for some things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. what is the plan now?
Well, the plan now is to take this thing on tour. And it's not like, like in terms of a supergroup, whatever. This isn't like a one album, one tour type project type deal, whatever. We thoroughly we're having a great time with this, and we plan on just taking it as far as we can take it. It's a band.
I mean, obviously, let's be honest. We have 4 great players, 4 great musicians coming from 3 or 4 big bands. I mean, for the band to have failed, I mean, you guys would have had to have gone out there to play, I mean, the music would have had to have been really bad.
Right.
But, I mean, could you have sensed that it really was going to have this kind of dynamic and really bring some serious attention and sold out and big stories? I mean, did you have that sense at all, Mike?
No, we didn't know what was going to happen. A year and a half ago, Sammy's band was playing like a pre-Super Bowl deal in Vegas, and Sammy wanted to do something different for the encore, so he called Chad and myself and said, hey, let's do this, let's bring our little chicken foot thing, let's do a cool thing for the encore. And he called Joe up because Sammy figured he wanted to have a proper guitar player to do this, So he called Joe, and Joe graciously said, yeah, I'll come up and jam. And just that instant gratification that we got on stage from the audience, just jamming a couple of songs. And that's when we all decided, hey, man, let's explore this, and let's take it in the studio and see where we can go with it. I don't know, I think, if certain things come up, let's say the Chili Peppers, if, Chad's got to go off and do that for a bit or whatever, this band's still going to be there. And we said, hey, we'll wait if somebody has a commitment or whatever, and we'll get back together when we can. And we're going to move forward with this thing, because we're having a good time with it.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Just a couple more questions here, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the vocal thing, I mean, obviously, it's really extraordinary. I mean, you really hear it. And, I mean, people say, oh, yeah, well, it's Mikey's high harmonies and Van Halen that make this sound. Well, you go, well, yeah. But, I mean, it's like you hear this, and I mean, the truth of it is, I mean, a lot of it, I mean, you are what you do what you do amazingly, and that's a huge part of it. I mean, that is a...
Yeah, well, Sammy and I, we feel like we got a pretty cool identity, with our voices.
Definitely.
And we just thought let's bring it a little bit more towards the forefront of this thing,
I mean, Mike, were you pushed more in terms of coming up with parts? And it sounds like some of these parts are a little more complex.
It was very natural. Sammy comes up with his parts, starts singing, and I just start singing backgrounds to everything.
Wow.
That he's doing, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, well, let's use that, or let's use this, or whatever. But we did consciously make an effort to really try to bring a little bit more of the background into the forefront,
Absolutely. I mean, in the studio, Mike, I mean, is it kind of layering parts? I mean, are you doubling your voice at all? Are you guys...
You know what? A couple of times that, we wanted to beef it up a bit, I layered my stuff, but basically a lot of it was just Sammy and I just going in there and doing it right at the same time.
Wow. The difference between kind of singing behind Sammy and singing behind Dave?
It's a whole kind of different dynamic singing behind those guys. Obviously Sammy's got quite a bigger range.
Yeah.
And when he joined Van Halen, I was like going, oh my God, now I'm really going to have to push myself. But it's cool. It's cool because you come up with different things, and it's all good for me.
So, Mike, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, were there parts, I mean, Chad is the guy's a monster. I think he's just like one of the, I mean, he gets a lot of, credit, but he's like, he's just amazing. I mean, because in the Chili Peppers, it's more kind of, Flea and Anthony, and you don't, you know what I mean? But
Chad does his gig and kind of kicks back, and like Sam was saying last night, too, I mean, we even swung a microphone in front of the guy's face.
Exactly. I don't think he quite knew what to say. That was so funny, man. It's like deer in the headlights. I mean, Mike, were you challenged, as a bass player? I mean, it seems like it...
Not really challenged, but just, pushed. Just, it really kind of just inspires me to step it up a bit. And that's just, that's actually just, the caliber of people that you play with, And I'm standing in the middle with Joe on one side, Chad on the other side. And we're doing this record, and my jaw is basically kind of on the ground, just grooving on what these guys are doing. And I almost think that those two guys are like our secret weapon in this band. You know, a lot of the people from the rock, the rock fans that listen to Van Halen or whatever, you know, and they look at Chad and they think of him, oh yeah, you know, it's the Chili Peppers, you know, kind of funk, whatever. And Joe does his instrumental thing, but thrown into this situation, these guys like are playing some amazing stuff, and I think that's one of the things that the people are really going to be, you know, going, wow, man, I never knew that this was like this with these guys, you know.
Definitely. Did you?
Sorry to interrupt. Would you mind making this your last question, please?
Okay. Oh well. Did you write anything, Mike?
You know, we all when we first went in, well, after we actually first jammed, Joe and Sammy got together because they both live up in the Bay Area out here, and threw some ideas down or whatever, and Joe started demoing up stuff. But there was actually a lot of stuff that we all wrote together in the studio, and you know, we just kind of like broke the tip of the iceberg with that. And I think the next record that we do, there's going to be a lot more of that. So
oh, really?
It was like Joe would come with ideas, but we all would throw our 2 cents in, and that was the really cool part. Is that the thing that nobody was like, well, play this, play that. This is how the song goes. That everybody pretty much had free range to do what they wanted. But we all know, you know, everybody, you kind of know your boundaries and how far to take it or whatever, and it was just a great collaboration in that sense.
That's cool. Well, that's great, Mike, man. It's great to speak with you again. And
yeah, good talking to you, too.
Man, I'm glad everything's going well, and I'm guessing Ed wasn't at the show last night?
I didn't personally see him myself. I did chat with Brian May, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were a few people there. Him and Roger Taylor was supposed to make it to the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did see Luke there.
Yeah, Luke was there. I hadn't seen Luke in a long time.
Yeah.
We had a great time hanging out there.
That's cool. Well, that's great, Mike. I appreciate it, and you take care of yourself.
All right, Steve, you too, man.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike. Bye.
Okay, bye.